tweeted on Saturday, never a doubt. The Prince.
Never a doubt.
Never a doubt. I tweeted after the
doubt.
game. Never a doubt.
Stop it.
Down 27-0. Worst half of his career. And that young man never blinked. Never blinked. And you laughed at me when I brought up state championships and national championships. And did it almost seem like the young man had a well to go to of experience in big games, of overcoming adversity. How else can you explain these splits I'm about to show you? Because, yeah, it didn't start great. In fact, it started as terribly as any playoff game has started for any quarterback other than Jake Delhomme in any of our lifetimes. And yet it ended as glorious as those flowing locks, with never a question about it. And I am no longer entertaining it being a debate. Is he a top 5 quarterback?
I mean,
there is Mahomes, there is Burrow for the time being, but he's doing his best to get out of there. There is Josh Allen, and there is not another name in the world you can say definitively is ahead of this young man. And I don't want to hear Justin Herbert's name brought up with him again for a very long time. So, gentlemen, I have a question. Is the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Prince who was promised guarantee on my promise that they would not lose again until the divisional round in Kansas City? Now, that game is on a Saturday, so I am a little anxious about it. But, gentlemen, I would ask that you please rise. And, yes, fellas, you guys can come join us. Please rise. Oh, yeah, it wouldn't be the Prince who was promised. Thank you. And as quickly as you rose, I now ask that you do this. Bend the knee.
We're not bending the knee.
No,
knee.
that's
Bend.
You should have stopped.
You won't bend the knee?
Not bending no knee.
Not bending the knee? Okay. I don't know why you wouldn't bend the knee. I don't know why you won't acknowledge that literally everything, all of the prophecies have come true. And we are living them in real time, one Chris Broussard. So you go right ahead, my friend.
All right. First, Wildes, I do have to admit, Nick, you were right.
Oh, my. He doesn't need any more.
What? And you deserve all the pomp and the circumstance, right? You deserve to gloat. He does.
I mean, this is a little bit much.
What?
It's a bit much,
but we added a snare drum?
And we'll give it to you. We'll give it to you. But I think I should get a little love, too.
Oh, don't you dare try to do this. Because you at the last second switched?
A last-second maneuver, that's called a late-game adjustment, all right? That is what that is called.
Tell the audience what you did.
Exactly what at Friday when we made our picks.
This is true.
I reluctantly. Well, let me set it up.
Yeah, please.
Everything I said about this game turned out to be true.
Oh, did it?
I said Herbert and Trevor, they're really close. I don't know which one's better. We'll see who wins the game. Yeah. I said it's a pick'em game. It's hard for me to call. Yeah. And I went with the Chargers because, no offense, guys, I didn't want the trumpets.
Okay.
All right. And then at the end, the drum is nice. I like the drum. And then at the end of the segment, I said, you know what?
It was flip-flopper.
My gut, my feel, my intuition that has never steered me wrong is saying Jacksonville. So I said, look, I'm making a change.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's called a late, we talk sports.
That's fine.
No, it's a late game adjustment.
You know what? I give you credit. You know what, Brew? You get credit. Let's focus our ire on this fella that said Mac Jones was better, that wouldn't give Trevor any of his well-deserved flowers. And now are you ready to you wouldn't bend the knee, but are you ready to give the flowers?
I don't want to be Mr. Negativity.
Sorry, my hair was
But go there.
But someone has to be the mayor of fair.
Okay.
There's a certain point, if there was a blazing inferno that got put out, and at the end of the day, like, hey, congratulations. And one of the firefighters said, by the way, I started it. You're like, oh, okay. I think the accolades would be tempered a little bit. He played a great half of football. The first half was one of the worst half of football we've ever seen.
Ever.
He set up a bad situation and got himself out of it. He deserves.
Yeah, but that is
I'm going
one
to give
Harold
the guy
trumpet.
this, Nick, because Wildes is right. I mean, if he wasn't so horrific in the first half, he wouldn't have had to be Superman in the second half. What I'll give him is this, and it's not because of the state championships and the Gatorade trophy he got. This man showed some heart, some perseverance, his ability to remain confident in himself. And I love what he said about his teammates.
True.
The locker room and how he knew Travis Etienne and all these other guys still believed in him, and that was enable him to come back from 4 interceptions.
Right.
So I'll give him credit for that.
And Doug Peterson deserves massive credit as well for the steady hand. But in sports, no matter how poorly you play early, if you rally and you are great in the end and your team wins, you get extra credit because you played. Yes,
he gets big time credit.
This was more impressive than a 4-touchdown, 0 interception game. Because he didn't turtle. Because he did overcome it. Because they were 50-1 to win in Vegas in live money lines. It's like, do you remember the Steph Curry playoff game against the Rockets when he had 0 first half points and then 30+ in the second half to win a critical game? It was more impressive than if he had 15 in the first half because he didn't have it. You don't have it. You're playing a team with multiple potential Hall of Famers on defense, a team whose guys around you have no playoff experience to speak of, and you came through. And again, you scoffed at the top 5. Make a top 5. And I would like to see how you can justify this young man not being in it. And I see you getting ready to try to tear him down. Gentlemen, please, if you will, can we please, for Trevor Lawrence, give him one final flourish, if we may? Go ahead, fellas.
Do we stand?
No, we can sit.
Okay. Do you think this comeback by the Prince who was promised cost Staley his job?
No. I think he'd have been fired already if it was going to. I don't think it's going to. I think you can argue it should. But what should really cost Brandon Staley his job, if anything, is he stopped being Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley, what you guys criticized him for, they would have won the game if he had stayed true to it.
True.
How many field goals are you going to kick inside the 5? What about 4th and 3 when the wheels are falling off at the end of the game and you know your defense can't stop this team and you won't go for it? He became an old school, kick the ball away conservative coach, which was the only edge he had. He let the media bully him out of what was his best facet, and then he just becomes a regular coach, and regular coaches screw this type of stuff up all the time. So if they fired him, I would get it, because what does he do well anymore at this point? But I don't think they're going to. And I also think it is fair, Brew, to say that Justin Herbert, who again I think is a great young quarterback, he was part of this collapse.
Right.
I showed the numbers earlier of Trevor, the first half dozen drives to the final 5 drives. Justin Herbert, after they went up 24-0, that's what he did. He was not good the remainder of the game, up to and including missing Keenan Allen in the end zone after the muffed punt to go up 31-0 that would have probably ended the game. Brew, you're not supposed to be able to blow it's the first time in NFL history a team has blown this type of lead without turning the ball over. They didn't. Usually for a comeback,
0 turnover.
For a comeback like this, what has to happen is like when the Chiefs were down 24-0 to the Texans. They fake a punt, they fumble a kickoff, and
a normal game.
A normal game. The Jags had 5 drives once they were down 27-0. They got touchdowns on the first 4 and then game-winning field goal on the 5th. They didn't have a ton of time, so Herbert's got to wear some of this too.
No doubt, Herbert doesn't escape it, but I'm not going to sit here and kill Brandon Staley, but I do think they should move on. Last year, you talked about the 4th down. I mean, there's no guarantee they convert all those 4th downs against Jacksonville.
Of course.
Right? So maybe you're not even getting 3 points. And so last year, he was doing the 4th down thing. That was something that was strange and controversial. Then at the end of last season, of course, he calls the timeout that leads them to miss the playoffs against the Raiders. This year, remember the game? He went for it on 4th down. 4th and 2 in his own territory, late with a minute left against Cleveland. Cleveland ends up kicking a field goal, misses a 54-yard field goal. His own player, Keenan Allen, tweets out,
Yeah.
What the heck are we doing?
Well, at least he was aggressive.
At least he was staying true to himself.
That's fine, but look, with that and then the Mike Williams thing.
The Mike Williams thing's real bad.
And
he's the red zone target, and they couldn't score in the red zone.
Gerald Everett, who he had a heck of a game, but Gerald Everett said after that game that the Mike Williams situation was demoralizing. So this is my question. I heard what Justin Herbert said about liking him, but with that quote from Everett, it was demoralizing because one of our best players got hurt because the coach played him in a meaningless game. And then the tweet from Keenan Allen, two of their top players, I wonder if he still has that locker room. On top of all the other mistakes he's made, I wonder, and I hear, he's got to learn, he's learning, you don't get given a head coaching job in the NFL to learn on the job.
Unless you're Jeff Saturday.
This team is too good. Right, and he's not going to keep it.
What?
This team is too good for them to be experimenting with a young coach.
Let me show you some Herbert stats, Nick.
Sure.
Because if I was the Chargers decision maker, I would watch this weekend's games and be like, man, Shanahan sure is doing well with Brock Purdy, and Brian Daboll just won a playoff game with Daniel Jones, and I've got Justin Herbert, who's got the best arm in the league. He's available, throws a bunch of touchdowns, and we're sitting here with 0 playoff wins.
Right. No, that's just one playoff appearance.
I understand that. I do think one of the things that happens when you have a team in your division that has an all-time great at quarterback and continuity. It's what happened in New England. You can get yourself. The other teams can keep taking 3 steps backwards by churning the head coach or churning the quarterback. And the Chargers obviously,
head coach.
It would be his third head coach. And everybody, if they don't want him to get rid of the head coach, they want him to fire the coordinator Lombardi, which maybe they should. But again, that's tough on the quarterback. But that is one of the what you just showed there. And I picked the Chargers to be in the AFC Championship game. I thought the Tua versus Herbert debate was ridiculous. I think Herbert's a very, very good, if not great, young quarterback. But there has been no improvement. The reason that I said that Trevor is the better bet is, yes, Trevor's rookie year, he was awful, and Herbert's rookie year, he was excellent. But if you couldn't tell which year was his rookie year, it's been the same stuff. And he does have great weapons, and they do have a very good defense. And in this game, he missed, and last point, he didn't just miss passes. And you can put this on Staley as well, but this is a coach quarterback thing. They weren't bleeding the play clock at all. How many times were they snapping with 12 on the clock? What do you mean that's not him? Does Brady make that mistake?
No, but they're also not running the ball. Like, that's Staley.
No, but there were 15
I
plays.
Put that on Staley. And tell him, wait to run
the but I guess my point is you shouldn't have to tell him. There were 15 plays that were run in the second half with the clock running. And they took it inside of 5 seconds, I think 3 times. Barnwell had that this morning. That at the end of the game, that would have mattered. That would have absolutely mattered.
All right, in 5 short days, it's Patrick versus the Prince. Here's the scary part, as you know. Prince has 0 losses on Saturday. This game is on a Saturday.
Not only as I know, as I brought that stat to America's attention, and you jackals laughed at me, and then did you see it literally everywhere, including on the broadcast?
Didn't it include some of this Pop Warner
I'm just telling you, 0 losses on a Saturday. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, are you nervous? I mean, this is a tough game for you. You've got the Prince
on a Saturday.
This is what we call literally a can't lose moment for me. Because I guaranteed America a month ago the Jags were going to go undefeated until they played the Chiefs in the divisional round. And we now find them playing the Chiefs in the divisional round. And so I'm going to go ahead because what do they call me, Wildes?
Mr. Consistency.
Mr. Consistency. I will stick with that and say, you know what it takes to break a royal streak of a prince? The true king of the NFL, Patrick Mahomes. And so, I think that streak will be broken. But if I'm wrong, you think I'm going to come out here on Monday sad because the prince has obtained the throne earlier than even I expected? If he does that, you know what I'll do? What you guys wouldn't? I will bend the knee. I will bend the knee if he does that. There is no problem whatsoever.
I think we went too far in this segment. I'll be 100. Well, he's talking about bending the knee. I don't even know who he's talking about.
The Prince.
But Allen's turnovers cost the Bills the Super Bowl. I thought you were taking it off, and you were just petting it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.